We are going to have a very good video today. This is something I've been wanting to put out for years. I have grappled with it, and there are many parts to it, so make sure if this is a topic that actually speaks to your spirit, that you share it, that you comment, and um, that you get on board. All right. Um, yeah, this is good. This is good. So today, talking about the Maurian male and Western society. I am Maurian, and I will share with you more of our history. So everything that I share here, I'm going to put it in the context of a tale. Everything that I'm sharing with you is a tale. Consider it a legend. Consider it a myth. All myths have some grain of truth in them. The reason I'm presenting it that way is because it's ineffective to present this as actual history. If I present it that way, then people will have a string to pull on to unravel the tapestry of truth. And so I am most dedicated to those who are apex humans who are ready to make this next step into the golden age. And I came here, I was born for this mission. So welcome to this talk. This is going to be a deep one. The title will throw a lot of people off because most people don't even know what a Maurian is. I could have made it blacks or African Americans or something like that, but they are not us. We are not them. All right, so let's get right into it. Philo and many ancient geniuses noted the importance of obliterating male children if you are to maintain dominance over a foreign race or a foreign power. And this is something that the Romans understood, and they were exceptional at it. The Egyptians understood. This is any society understood this. So if you've conquered a group of people, you want to keep the females alive because they're not going to ever pose any threat to your authority. Females just don't have that ability. They're not built for war, and they're much easier to intimidate. It's a rare woman, because women are different from females, but it's a rare woman that will stand up and show courage the way that a man naturally does. And so men and males of society naturally are able to stand up and defend the culture, protect the culture, and women are the ones that perpetuate the culture. So the women will maintain the subservience, the servitude, the slavery, the submission of the children. But when you remove the men, they will not protect the culture. So you can actually cause the culture to go into spiraling down into nothing. And so this is all about what us as Maurian men are here to do. We're here to promote Western society into its golden age. We are not here to uplift Africa. We're not here to help the blacks. We're not here for that at all. That is not our mission, and that is not our purpose. We will survive this great transition that's happening. Again, what I'm presenting here is a tale. And so in this video, I'm going to talk about men and how they represent power, purpose, peace, righteousness, harmony, and virtue. We're also going to talk about the most powerful men in Western society, the 0.0001% of us, and why are we here? We're here to uplift Western society and raise it back to its supremacy. All right. And I'm also here today to talk about the 5 master races, how Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and Vance are bringing fatherhood and the patriarchy back, how Will Smith and castration of Maurian men has led to a great downfall, and who we are as Maurian men and how we are helping Western society rise to its greatness again. Western society is the vehicle that God will use to bring the golden age back into humanity. Christianity is the vehicle for that. And so let's get right into it. We've got a little bit of conversation happening here. Sherelle McKinney, hello, welcome. Let's see, Whistling Mound, I like your name. Whistling Mound, or Weiselin Mound, or Visselin Mound, it might be German. Or Madison, it's my birthday. Wow, welcome, happy birthday. It was my birthday yesterday, so happy birthday, fellow Aquarian. It's also my cousin's birthday today. Angel Star, welcome back. The topic of today, Angel Star, is the Maurian man in Western society. I am Maurian. I'm introducing us to the world. I'm telling a tale of the Golden Age and how we walk into that. This is not so much a specified video, it's more a general video. So it's a more, we're talking about the master races, the 5 master races, what men, our purpose in society, what we're actually here to do. And we're going to talk about how we can move forward. Oh, and I was also going to talk about, we'll just talk about it. I'm not going to introduce it. All right. So I'm going to say hi to Dion Monti. How do you convert to Christianity? Accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior and acknowledge your sonship with the Most High. That's it. All right. Ashton Bean says hello. That's a beautiful name, Ashton Bean. I love that. Ashton Bean. Are you related to Mr. Bean? All right. Brian Gomes. Hello. Hola. Brian Gomez. Welcome. Hola. ¿Cómo estás? Bienvenidos. All right. Dean Monte. Get a haircut, pal. All right. I'll do that just for you. I'll cut one hair and I'll let you know when I've done it. All right. Cool Gamer Plays. Welcome back. Well, no, don't welcome back. So we do have some useless people in the conversation. We'll keep them around for a little while because I might want to insult some people. So Cool Gamer Plays, I think that you will be my scapegoat. So if I ever want to say something really hurtful, I'll send it your way. All right, we've got Nada Burton. Hello and welcome. Cool Gamer Plays. Okay. Yes, I do have a big forehead. Cool Gamer Plays. Thank you for that compliment. All right, so we've got the 5 master races. I've talked about this in other videos. We've got the Albaryans, and these, I'll just describe them so you know what they are. You have the Albaryans. They are the northern people. They are the people of the Alpine regions. They're usually called white people, but they're Northern European peoples, fair skin, fair eyes, aquiline features. They are the Arctic people, really, back when the Arctic was still inhabitable. All right, and then you have the Atlanteans, not to be confused with the mythical Atlanteans. These are the real Atlanteans, the American Indian people that they are referred to incorrectly. Indigenous people of North America, their largest populations are in South America and in Mexico. The greatest civilizations were in Mexico, Peru, and Bolivia, and Ecuador and the Amazon, but those are were mixed civilizations. And then you have the Chimerans. Chimerans are any mixed people. All of humanity today is some form of Chimeran. All right, and then you have the Maurians. They look like me for the most part. We hail from the Pacific, is where we originated, but we ended up in Africa and in the Americas just due to a cataclysm that caused our continent to sink. And then you have the Mongolians, the great Mongolians, and of course the name comes from the word Mung, which means brave. They were powerful people, were historically. Think of Genghis Khan. These are the true powerful people of the steppe. These are the plains people. So they inhabited the grasslands of the earth from Mongolia all the way through the Americas, and they came here about 25,000 years ago, somewhere in that time frame. And their genetics are in North America among what we call Native Americans. But many American Indians are actually Mongolians. All right, and that's mainstream history. It's not, I'm not just making that up. So let's continue with the tale. Let's see who else is in the chat. Diamante, you can't prove God exists. Thank you for stating the obvious. All right, Jamie Baker, you cannot roast nobody. All right, thank you. I don't know who you're speaking to. And then we've got GGFK. Did I say that right? Hello, bro. All right. So we talked about the 5 master races. That's who you are. If you want to know more about the 5 master races and see a little more information on them, go to www.apexhumanity.org. www.apexhumanity.org. The link is in the description to this video. We've got XL, DGS, DGA, blah, blah, blah. All right. You look like Caitlyn Jenner. Okay. All right. And then Jamie Baker. Hello, sorry. No need to apologize. I am made of gold. All right. So, why did civilization fall? We're going to talk about that because it has everything to do with patriarchy. The first thing that happened, it was the castration of masculinity. And that just happened as a result of the wars that began about 10,000 years ago between tribes, between societies. The great cataclysm that happened about 12,000 years ago, the Younger Dryas event that destroyed most of the Albaryan native lands, the Arctic lands that became covered in ice, These people were forced southward and ended up in Mongolian and Maurian territories, and also somewhat in the Atlantean territories, like northern parts of North America. And there's a lot of wars that took place just as a result of that cataclysm. With this happening, a lot of males went to war. It was not females. The females knew better, right? They would just been obliterated. The only time that females went to war was as a last ditch effort, the very last ditch effort. And that's when you had these Amazons and women like that showing up. And these were very robust, powerful women, but they were not the first line of defense. It was always the men. As a result of that, we went into an Iron Age. The Greeks tell this story. Herodotus, Diodorus, other Greek writers tell this story. We went into an Iron Age, Dark Age of war, of fighting, of killing. And men were killing each other off in record numbers, fighting over resources, fear, these sorts of things. And it led to the rise of matriarchal cultures, the child sacrificing cultures of the matriarchy. And so the death of fatherhood, the decline of patriarchy had a profound effect on humanity. It's what led to the fall of civilization. The cataclysm was bad enough. The Younger Dryas event that led to the erection of Göbekli Tepe. Look it up, Göbekli Tepe, Goblektepe, 2 words. Look it up. It's mainstream history, guys. This is not just, I mean, I'm using these mainstream historical events to tell a tale. Let's get back into the, oh, you're Wampanoag. Awesome. Not a Burton. So what point are you talking about today? I'm actually talking about your people. Yeah. So Wampanoag, that's awesome. You're one of the original Maurian groups that was here. That's awesome. So good to have a Wampanoag here. Get rid of the black part. Don't identify with black. Excuse me. I would highly recommend that you not identify with black. Completely remove that from your identity. Black identity will come to an end in 2034. 1989, they made that public in 1989. Don't ask me for the resource of that. I'll just tell you, look up Bobby Hemmitt, 2 M's, 2 T's, and Hemmitt, Hemmitt. He brought this to awareness. It's in a very obscure esoteric book, but it was made public in 1989. Black identity in African Americans will completely become obsolete in 2034, year 2034. So look it up, but get rid of the black identity if you can. Just own Wampanoag, the Natics, the Wampanoag, the Lenni Lenape. Just own that completely. Completely drop blackness. You don't want anything to do with it. All right. So you think woman better than man? XLX. So we're just gonna name X. XL said. So you. I think woman better than man. We'll work on the grammar there, and I'll respond. My grandpa is green because she's eating salad all the time. Grandma is green because she's eating salad. That's cute. All right. Thank you. I'm proud and admit good. Own that. Okay. Drop blackness completely. And drop African. Don't let anybody call you an African. If you're Wampanoag or Lenni Lenape or Patuxet or any of those indigenous tribes that appear to be Maurian, own that completely. Drop African, drop black. You don't have anything to do with that. Just do yourself a favor and get rid of that. All right, Jenna Smotherman. Good evening. Welcome, Jenna. So yeah, during those wars, a lot of men were killed off, and it led to the rise of matriarchal cultures. Now, matriarchal cultures and matriarchal societies are not natural. It's always the combination of matriarchy, patriarchy. Patriarchy being the leading driving force. Any matriarchal culture that they tell you about that existed 10,000 years ago or whatever, that was an aberration. That was the result of men being removed and women having to step up. Men being killed off, either through disease, through attacks, through war, through targeted campaigns to remove men, cultures coming in, killing off the male children, and impregnating the female children, and then those cultures dying and the female being left. And so it's matriarchal cultures an aberration. They're not supposed to exist. They're usually the child sacrificing cultures and things like that. Almost all matriarchal cultures practice child sacrifice. So this led to the rise of savagery, feminism, and it was just, we've been coming out of a 10,000 year dark age as a result. So we're having a slow return of the patriarchy. The first attempts to return patriarchy were very poorly done. The Romans did a terrible job. The Greeks did the best, and the Egyptians, but the Egyptians were the true kind of male-female culture. They had matriarchy and patriarchy standing side by side. But the Greeks tried their best to resurrect it. They did a good job, but they failed when they were defeated by the Romans. Romans came around, did a terrible job of it, led to a lot of savagery, torture, bloodshed, suppression of women, and it was a poor version of patriarchy. It was much better than any matriarchal culture still. The Romans were much superior, but it led to a lot of problems. They perpetuated war, they perpetuated torture, they were the experts at torture. And but they fell, things changed. Matriarchal cultures had their impact, their influence, little by little, by influencing the leaders, by cultivating males who were more matriarchal leaning. And it led to a little bit of a softening of patriarchy, which led to a real patriarchy, which is slowly coming back. Let's jump in the chat real quick. So yeah, the Angel Star said, oh well. Sweet home, Alabama. Are you from Oklahoma? No, but I have been to Oklahoma. Oklahoma have no man lands. Yes, they do. So have you ever eating a couscous? A couscous. Oh, couscous. Are you saying couscous as in couscous or the indigenous couscous? I think it's couscous like American Indian couscous. I've heard of it. I don't think I've ever eaten it. I've eaten fry bread and loved it when I was living in New Mexico for a while. So anyway, getting back to it. So patriarchy and the fatherhood is slowly coming back. Masculinity, apex masculinity is slowly coming back. You'll see that there's a lot of imagery around fatherhood. Great apex fathers like Donald Trump, who have many children by many women. This is true patriarchy, true fatherhood. Elon Musk is another example. Many women, many children. Vance, one wife, he's monogamous, but he has multiple children. Excellent, excellent examples. And if you're a father, if you're a man out there and you have the resources, make sure you have as many children as you can. And you are, meaning as many children as you can father, and do that. Now, if you experience a loss of resources or you become disconnected from your children, that's okay. Stay on your grind, connect with God. Remember your sonship with the Father. God will provide all the resources you need to support your children in a positive way and be that apex father you were born and designed to be. Also, Eddie Murphy is an example of apex fatherhood as a Maurian example of apex fatherhood. There are many other apex fathers that are Maurian, but I'm going to focus on Eddie Murphy because he's an exceptional example of apex Maurian fatherhood. He has multiple women, multiple children by those women. There are many men that are monogamous, okay, but they are not the majority. They're the minority. Vance is a great example of a monogamous apex father, but Donald Trump is a typical man, many women, many children, and he's a father to all those children. Elon Musk, many women, many children. Eddie Murphy, many women, many children, and all those children are taken care of. All of them are helping to build their father's empire. So this is a return of patriarchy. A great example of castrated, debilitated men are Barack Obama, Will Smith, and these are men that were raised by that one cursed their father, like Will Smith did. He said that his father was a bad man because he was physically violent with his mother, domestic violence, which is not condoned. It's not a good thing. Men should not put their hands on women in that way. Okay, but Will Smith publicly shamed his father for that. And that is a sign that Will Smith was castrated spiritually, mentally, emotionally. He also married one of the black widows, the black women, and we're going to talk about them at the end. So civilization fell because patriarchy was destroyed. And let's see here. Oh, let's see here. Let's jump in the chat. We've got some good comments here. Okay, how about the Mars colony from Walmart cleanup? Okay. Not a burden. My grandmother had 18 children with one man. That's beautiful. That is beautiful. She's a good woman. That's a good woman. That's a powerful woman, too. That's a powerful woman. Woo! That's a powerful woman. It's a strong woman right there. Woo! Woo! All right. XOXO wants help. Okay. Will Smith, a gossip girl. Definitely. All right. So that's what happened. Civilization fell because men were going to war with each other over resources. and we forgot our sovereignty as a species. The swastika, believe it or not, is a sign of sovereignty between the 5 master races. So the Mongolians use the swastika, Maurians all throughout the continent of Africa and in the South Pacific use the swastika. Even the Jewish people used the swastika, okay, prior to the Nazis. And of course, the American Indians, swastikas everywhere, from the Hopi to the Natchez uh, to the Oglala Sioux, to of course the Aztec and all of the Peruvians down. When I was in Peru, I saw swastikas everywhere. So that's a big part of the culture. It's a sign of sovereignty. It shows that we are all sovereign. And when you would show the swastika, it was a sign that we are part of the master race. And the master races are 5 groups of people. All of us are descendants of the master races. All of us, because we're all mixed. We're all versions of that. I mean, I have Nordic and German and Irish and English ancestors, about 20% when you put them all together, and Greek and Basque. Okay, and of course, mostly Maurian and some indigenous Americans, which were Maurian as well, some of them. So we're all descendants of the 5 master races. No one can get away from that. Of course, there are 12 human races, but only 5 of the 5 master races. Almost no one is descendant of the other 7 races. 5, like 4 went extinct, and then there are 2. There, there are 3 that are still around, but I won't talk about them because they're too weird. All right, but they exist, and again, look up the ghost lineage and the skeleton tribe. Ghost lineage, skeleton tribe. Look it up. National Geographic has done studies on this, or has reported on the studies that have been done on these people. They're genetically different from everyone else on the planet. They don't have any of the genetics of the rest of the human race. The ghost lineage and the skeleton tribe. Look them up if you want to know more about this. So what I'm spitting here is a tale. It is a legend. It's a myth. But there are actual facts that you can find that validate it. So again, this is a tale. This is a myth. Don't take it too seriously. Do your research, and you'll find out whether or not you want to buy into this. Okay, let's see here. Ron Magebon, how do you feel about the bubonic plague? The bubonic plague was introduced into Europe by a parasitical group of Moors. People that look like me took that and put it into Europe. We did that intentionally. That was the first form of germ warfare. We did that. And so that's one of the reasons we actually owe Europe a lot. Slavery and all that stuff was just payback. We deserved it. Let's see, not a burden. What about men who have many children but don't take care of them? That is an aberration. That's not the word I want to use. It's not even a real word. That is, there's a lot of things that go on there. There are a lot of factors that go into that. That's a very good question, Nada. Yeah, Nada, I said it right. Not a burden. So the first thing you have to take into account is the rise of feminism and the black mother. The black mother is the most destructive thing to society and civilization. And when I say the black mother, I'm not only referring to black mothers, but I'm talking them too. But I'm talking about the black mother in the sense of the psychological sense. Carl Jung, many psychologists and symbologists understand the concept of the black mother, the Kali, the mother that destroys her children, the mother who cuts the wings off of her children, the mother who castrates her sons and kills their fathers. That's the black mother. Black women in general have been bred to do that for the last 80 years, and they do it almost with perfect exactitude. So that's the first concern. Men who have all these children by all these women and don't take care of them are often sons of black mothers, not just black women, but the black mother in the sense of the psychological sense, the Kali, the Kali, Lilith. These are examples of the black mother. It's a symbolic term, the black mother, meaning the mother of darkness, the one who kills her children or eats them. And this it's a symbological psychological term. It's not literal. It's not like, African American women are eating their children. Not necessarily, but it's a psychological term. That's the first thing. Second thing is you just have men that are not responsible. Okay, and that's an obvious thing, right? The third thing is these men perhaps want to provide for their children, but they have children by masculine women who kick them out or disrespect them, and the children that are sired by these women are not actually their children. These children are bastards because the woman they are born to doesn't respect the authority of the father. And those men have absolutely no responsibility to those children or to those women. When the children demonstrate their allegiance to that father, then he is required by God to raise and provide for those children. But if they do not demonstrate the allegiance and the respect to their father's masculine authority, he has absolutely no responsibility to them whatsoever. And this is just divine justice. That's why women always are provided for. Their children always have fathers because they're women. An adult female will often have many bastards. Think about the story of Lilith. So Adam had 2 wives. The Christians forgot this, but Orthodox Christians know this. Protestant Christians don't even, they're not real Christians, but we'll just call them Christians nominally. But the Orthodox Christians know this, the Gnostic Christians know this. Adam had 2 wives. He had Lilith and Eve. Lilith was the typical feminist, here, I'm a woman, hear me roar. Let me sit on top of you. You need to submit to me. She was that kind of female. She was an adult female, basically. So Adam was like, I can't do anything with this kind of a female. And God was like, all right. So he took Lilith, kicked her out of the garden, turned her into a demon, basically, and caused her to have babies every single day, 1 million babies every day. She was cursed. So she's an archdemon, an archdemoness. And there's nothing wrong with Lilith. You can actually utilize that energy if you need to, take care of things in your life. It's a powerful energy for women to use. She's a succubus, a demon that comes and causes men to ejaculate at night. Lilith is that. And so she's a symbol for the women that destroyed the patriarchy because of ignorance and because of weakness. And then you had Eve. So Lilith, did this thing. She was awful, whatever. And then God was like, okay, I'm sorry, Adam. I messed up. It wasn't the real God. It was actually Malaktaos. It was the God of this world. And so he said, I made a mistake. Let me make you another wife. And then he made Eve. And Eve was sweet. She was feminine. She was a real woman. She had the wiles of a woman. The thing is, she was manipulative. And that's how she got Adam kicked out of the garden. But Eve was okay. And so she was able to give Adam true children and help to build God's kingdom on the earth, even though she got Adam kicked out of the garden. But that's kind of how that story goes. It's an allegory. It didn't really happen, but that's kind of part that story. So we talked about the bubonic plague, talked about men who don't take care of their children. And Adam has absolutely no allegiance to the children of Lilith. Lilith and that's how a lot of women are. They're like Lilith. I'm a woman, hear me roar. I don't need no man, but they want to go to the state and force you to pay them child support. So that's just not realistic on any level. All right, XLSLSLSDGK. My grandma is black, so then okay. I don't know if that's relevant. You're insulting your grandmother if you're calling her black. By the way, she's from Somalia. Okay, then she's not black. Okay, respect her. Don't call her a black woman. That's an insult. She's Somalian, so she's probably from the tribe of Put, or one of the Somali tribes. So understand what your grandmother's ancestors and respect her. Don't ever call her black. That's an insult. All right, dude, don't ignore the audience. So anyway, that's that. All right. So how will, with all of that happening, right, the destruction of patriarchy due to wars of men killing each other and leaving children without fathers, women rising and becoming matriarchal, leading to child sacrifice, destruction of men, castration of men. How did we get out of it? How did we get out of it? Well, again, Vance, Trump, Musk, Murphy, these men are demonstrating true patriarchy, true fatherhood. They are resurrecting the fatherhood. They're resurrecting the Maurian fatherhood, Maurian fatherhood for Eddie Murphy. But for Musk, Trump, and Vance, they're resurrecting fatherhood. They're showing that they're fathers that are in the lives of their children. I'm that kind of a father. At this time, I am in a phase of creation. So there's a point where God has taken me where I need to be somewhere separate where my kids are, but everything is coming back into its perfect form. So what's happening is fathers that have been separated from their children, those who are in prison, those who are in graveyards, and those sorts of things, they're being brought back into the fold. They're being brought back into their power as fathers, and they're being brought back into their position. In the Bible, in the Old Testament, it has a prophecy about how the children will be returned to the Father. That's happening now. So the golden age is returning. And so the revival of Western civilization is the necessary step to bring back the golden age. The Moors that were in Europe are not the Arabs. Arabs are not Moors. They're a Chimeran group of people. They're a mixed group of people. But Moors look like I do. They're Maurian people, come from what's now called North Africa, Tunisia, all the way to Mali. And we went into Europe about 1500 BC to help revive Albaryan civilizations like the Greeks and others. And 3,500 years ago, Mauri, not to be confused with the Maori in the South Pacific, but the Mauri, which you can find on old maps in what's now Tunisia, Algeria, Morocco, Mauritania, Mali, we went into Europe and helped to revive Europe. The bubonic plague was, a couple of us went crazy and went apostate, and we put a disease in Europe that nearly wiped out the entire Albaryan population. But that was on us. That was wrong for us to do that. We did that. Okay, and you can look it up. We were catapulting bubonic. We were catapulting um, bodies, dead, rotten bodies, into European stronghold cities, into forts. And these bodies were hitting the ground, exploding, and the feces and guts were going everywhere and leaving bubonic plague into Europe. Hello to Duels. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Nada, excuse me. Do you have multiple children with different women? No. I was monogamous, and I have 2 children with 1 woman. And I provide for those children more than enough. And the thing is, I was like, I loved raising them. I was volunteering at their school, taking them out on the weekend to give their mom a break, and a big part of it. Right now, I'm in a building period. So there's a short period of time where I'm a little bit separated from them, but I'm building something that will help to round out their growth. And I'm going to have more children by other women as well. So just not right now. I want to make sure that my current children are good, and I'm working on that. So anyway, so the Moors that were in Europe about 3,500 years ago, we became very active as the Maurian people. We were called Moors by the Greeks and by people in Europe just because of the word mauros, mavros by the Greeks just means deeply pigmented. It's mistranslated to mean black, but it just means the dark one, the one who has dark complexion. Mavros, so names like Maureen, Maurice, Morrison, Maroon, Morocco, Mauritania, all these have the prefix Maur, M-A-U-R, and that just refers to deeply pigmented, deep pigmentation. We entered Europe through the Mediterranean. The word Mar also refers to the sea, so there's some potential etymological links there. I know I'm getting really deep and heady here, but you can research all of this stuff on your own. That's why I go into it. So we entered Europe from the Maghreb, what's called the Maghreb. And the Maghreb is just basically Mali all the way over to Mali, all the way over to Western Sahara, Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, maybe even Libya, the Libyan desert. But it's really, though, Tunisia all the way over to the coast, to Mali and Mauritania. Okay, the coast of Mauritania. All right, we entered Europe, helped the Algerians kind of restart things, thank you. I'm glad, Nada. I'm glad you subscribed. We helped the Europeans restart civilization, and that led to the Renaissance period, the cathedral building period. And by the way, we did not create the Renaissance. We did not create civilization in Europe. Algerians were already very civilized people. They were very advanced people. What happened was we just came and brought technology back into Europe that they already had. All we did was help. We were a relief effort. And you'll notice that they honored us by making the Virgin Mary, Sophia, Jesus Christ, Mother Mary and Jesus Christ painted dark like us. So you go to Poland, you go to Scandinavian, and you look at the Virgin Mary and the Holy Mary and Child, or the Theotokos in the Orthodox Church, the great Holy Mother, she's painted dark like us. very dark complexion. And that was originally done intentionally because it was like a thank you to the Mauritans that helped protect and bring back things to Europe that Europe already had. There are a lot of, the modern Moors and these Hebrew Israelites and these sorts of psychotic groups. The Moors are okay, but the Hebrew Israelites are psychotic, where they say, oh, the white man was a savage and he was a beast, and that's racist, it's terrible, it's wrong. Okay, it's completely wrong. It's completely incorrect. We didn't bring civilization to Europe. We helped to revive what was already there. People in Europe were extremely civilized, very advanced people, especially the northern people, like the Scandinavians, the Irish, come from a very long line of very advanced, very superior, supreme people. They just lost all of their native lands because of the ice age that encroached upon the Arctic Circle and into the what's now like Denmark, Sweden, Scandinavia, all of that Siberia. Those were all their native lands, but they were all just destroyed. And you can't live in those lands for like 9 months out of the year in ancient times. So they were pushed south. They were treated terribly by people that they were encroaching upon their lands. There was a lot of wars, and you can do the history. You can look at it. That's what happened in India. The Aryans were pushed down into northern India, and the people that were in Pakistan, Afghanistan, all of the former Soviet states were pushed into what's now India, the subcontinent, and that pushed us Maurian people, because we were encroaching up from the south, from the Kumari Kandam. We were coming up from the Kumari Kandam because we lost our native lands in the Indian Ocean. When the ice age happened, the sea levels dropped, but some of the ice melted and the sea levels rise. It was a terrible period, but we were pushed up north into the Indian subcontinent. So Dravidian people are Maurian people. We were coming up south from southern India into the Indian subcontinent. The Aryans were coming down from the north. We met in the middle. War took place. The Aryans won. They had superior power at some point, and they became the dominant group in India. And the Aryans took the Vedic culture, the Dravidian culture, and made what we now know to be Hinduism and all of that stuff. So it's a long history, and I'm getting kind of diverging on that. But you can do all your research and you look at this stuff. It's in the mainstream history and in the deep, more scholarly works that I've been privy to over the 20, 30 years I've been studying this stuff. All right. So during this time period, everyone had the swastika. The Dravidians had it. The other Maurian people had it. The Cimmerians groups, like the Jewish people, are actually a Cimmerian group. They had it. Mongolians had it in Tibet, and in all of Asia had it. Of course, the Albarians had it, or the Aryan people had it, and of course, the Atlantean Native Americans, the Hopi, all the Anasazi groups had it. The people all throughout Mexico and all that, they all had it. Everybody had the swastika, and it's what we use to say, "Hey, look, we're sovereign. We're not going to go to war with each other." And so we would have it on our clothing. We would stitch it in, and it was a sign of the sun. It was a sign of light. Why? Because there was a dark period in Earth where there was not a lot of sun, and everybody was dying. And so when you saw the sign of the sun, it was like, okay, we have hope that life will return. We're going to come out of this dark age. So swastika was that. Look up the swastika. You'll see everybody's had it. It's in Ethiopia. It's in Ghana. It's in Mali. It's in native South American, Indian Southwest. Jewish fighter pilots that were women. We used to wear the swastika from World War I. So swastika is our symbol as a humanity. The Nazis took it. We need to take it back. And so we're going to do that. Anyway, so it was prophesied during this time period of upheaval, during the last parts of the Golden Age, when Göbekli Tepe was being erected and built about 13,000 years ago, that us Mauryans would come back and help the Albarians rebuild civilization. And so it was prophesied that we would reunite, that we would come back together. And the swastika would be our symbol of reuniting. My ancestors, the Slavic, the Scandinavian ancestors, I have 6 to 8% Nordic. It was like Nordic people, so Swiss, German, and Nordic ancestors. But they came to me before I even know that I had Nordic ancestry, and they showed me the swastika, and they showed me that it was a tapestry, and they said that this is our sign, and this is our sovereignty. And they showed that one leg was red, one leg was black, one leg was yellow, one leg was white. And they were showing the 4 central master races, and in the center was a brown one. And that's everyone. We're all mixed. We're all mixed of those races. Let me get in the chat real quick. Diamante say, bros, wasting time talking about is nonsense. No one cares about this crap. Go get some cheddar, feel me? And that's fine. Okay, you can be insulted. Hey, you're not worth it. Okay. So anyway, getting back to it, Timbuktu was one of the centers of uh, of intelligence. Okay, all the history was held in places like Kempt or the Gizeh necropolis, in Tenochtitlan and Teotihuacan. It was Teotihuacan, Timbuktu, and the Gizeh necropolis. Those are three places that human history from this time period, about 10,000 years ago, was held. Okay, and parasites like Diamante fought very hard to destroy the history that we had as a sovereign race. There were parasite peoples, Diamante is one example, that kind of wanted to keep humanity afraid and weak because it was the weak, broken versions of humanity that led to these dark ages that we went through. It's almost 444. Okay. So Timbuktu and Mali, all these things that this is places that we kept our history. This is where we held it, hid it in these vaults and things like that because we knew that it was going to be resurrected. All right. So some names of some Maurians that you can look up that actually helped to maintain the Golden Age. The United States was actually built to rebuild the Golden Age. Some of the Maurians were Angelus Soliman, Angelo Soliman. He was the one who helped to establish the Freemasons as an intellectual society. Then you had Ben Banaka or Ben Banneker or Benjamin Banneker. He was the one that helped to build the first clock in the United States. He was Maurian from Cameroon. Both of these guys they were both from Cameroon. And then you had the great warrior Maurice, who helped to defeat the Romans. He helped to defend the Scandinavian people from the Romans back during the Byzantine period. The early part, no, it wasn't Byzantine. It was during the Roman conquest of Scandinavia. So look them up. Maurice, Saint Maurice, Benjamin Banneker, and Angelus Soliman. These are examples of Maurian men who were in, uh, who were in Western societies, Western cultures that helped to protect it and things like that. Okay, so all right, so parasites like the one I just deleted wanted to keep the golden age from happening because when the golden age occurs, all of their power is lost. They don't have the ability to run people, rule over people, control people's minds, and create fear. And so one of the main things that stands between the parasites and the golden age awakening is the man, the father. 444, very masculine number. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, all that stuff because it is 444. All right. So getting right into it. So the parasites are a powerless group of people that are in every single group. They're in every single group, okay? They're powerless now because the one event that needed to happen for the golden age to come about occurred, and that was the election of Donald Trump. Donald Trump is not Christ or anything like that. He's just a key. He is a sign. He's a symbol of a switch, of a transition. He's not going to do everything right, but what he represents is a choice that humanity has made to move forward into the golden age. 444, 4 likes, 4 4s. I love it. I love it. All right. So the parasites that we talked about tried and failed. Okay, they tried to kill the males, which are the strongest members of society, and they did this by removing the patriarchy, removing fathers, and promoting feminism. All right. The Mauri, because of that prophecy, our purpose to come into Western society and help it to become civilized again, we were thwarted about 100 years ago because we became too powerful. We became too powerful as fathers, as contributors to society, as community builders, and as positive, powerful men. This was about 100 years ago. And so what happened was they started to introduce things like, first of all, it was the whole, I'm not going to get into that because too many people complain about that. So that's irrelevant. We're not going to talk about it. But uh, the first thing that Maurian fathers did was we helped to maintain an example of what it is to be a man and to be exceptional. Meaning we didn't take a lot of lip or bullshit from the women in our community. Back then, black women did not exist. Black women were kind of invented around like the 1940s, 40s through the 60s. Somewhere in there they were invented, but they didn't exist before then. It was colored women, Negro women, whatever that term. But they were truly women. They were powerful. They still had their wonderful arts. They still had a matriarchal culture, but it was matriarchal in submission to patriarchy. And so the men were strong, the children were strong, the sons grew up, took over their father's businesses, created industries, made money, did great things. Okay. And this history is hidden. It's hidden away just because, you know, if these so-called black men in these poor black communities knew this, they would feel much more empowered and they would return to their patriarchal roots. They would ignore their mothers. They would not buy into the feminist bullshit, and they would distance themselves from the black mother. Okay, so blacks and African Americans are versions of, they're a broken version of the Mauri, of us, not Maori, but the Maurians. I'll just call us Maurians. They're a broken version of Maurians, and they will be gone by 2034. That culture, that entire identity will completely be dissolved by 2034. All right, blacks and African Americans, they neglect, reject, and imprison their males. They teach their males to kill each other off, or they teach their females to put their fathers, brothers, and husbands in prison. And that's just what they do, and that's what's led to a great downfall. All right. So as a culture, black culture, African American culture is dead, it's soulless, it's a slave culture, and it's a cannon fodder culture. So it's a culture that's designed for the sawmill. You know, it's really it's not a culture that's powerful or has a lot of value to society. Okay, and that's why it's coming to an end. So what happened that this culture came about? It's only about 80 or we'll say 82, we'll say it's 80 years old, okay? It's about 80 years old. Look, during the so-called antebellum slave period, Maurian people were very powerful. We had communities, we had, you know, structures, we had all of that. And slavery, Jim Crow, none of that stuff had any impact on us because we had wealth, we had communities, we had money, we had all that stuff. And we lived our own lives with freedom and joy and power and productivity and all that. But in the 1940s to the 1960s, there was a consistent campaign to destroy the men in this community. This goes back to what Philo was saying about how every dominating culture has an interest in getting rid of the males of the culture that they are dominating. And at that time, a parasitical culture was on the rise. Albaryan men, so-called white men, were being kind of brainwashed into fear and being less than. And so they actually were going down as well. All right. So one of the major impediments was the creation of the black female. And that was in the Lyndon B. Johnson days. And during the time of Lyndon B. Johnson, that whole welfare system, like, okay, let's pay women to get rid of the fathers. That's what led to the invention of the black mother. And that is the primary impediment to the golden age. But all of that has been resolved because Donald Trump won and everything is changing. So we won. We don't have to worry about it. The golden age is awakened. It's happening. We are going to see much more fatherhood happening. A lot of the men that are unfortunately incarcerated due to things like trumped up, the title, but due to just due to a pattern or a process of removing males from society, all of those males are going to slowly come back out. All of this stuff is going to consistently, it's going to happen little by little, but it's unfolding, it's unfolding, it's unfolding, it's unfolding. So keep your eye out for that. If you're a man, if you're a man, and you want to be, you know, you want to be the best man that you can be, make sure that you are cultivating your masculinity, your apex masculinity. If you're a woman and you say, okay, I want to see a safer society for myself, for my children, focus on and highlight instances where you see exceptional men of Maurian type. You don't have to go out there and champion in the streets and say, oh, you're so great. No, don't do that. That's pitying. It's a terrible thing to do. Don't do that. But recognize individuals like Eddie Murphy is a great example. Joe Jackson, he only had one wife, but that's okay still. Joe Jackson was actually a very powerful, good man. A lot of people say, oh, he was terrible, he was abusive. That's a psyop. It's not true. He was an exceptional father. He was a king, and he did what he needed to do to keep his children exceptional. Look at all of his children became exceptional contributors to society in the sense that they created things that almost no one else did. And so um, what one man has like 4 or 5 sons that are internationally known in their own right, and 3 daughters, Latoya Jackson, Janet Jackson, and the other daughter, forget her name. So Joe Jackson was an exceptional father, and he did a great job. Both of my grandfathers were exceptional like that. Of course, they provided for their kids. They were powerful men, very positive influences in a masculine sense. So went all over the place with this one, but I think I've come to the end on this. Uh, yeah, it's a good topic. Maurian men have to reawaken, completely disown and completely throw into the trash the black identity and the African American identity. Why the African American identity? Why shouldn't we be proud to be Africans? Well, to be an African is to be the child or the grandchild of a conquered people. The word Africa is actually it's a Roman last name. It's a Roman surname. And the family Africanus, this is a Roman family, Scipio Africanus went into Carthage, burned it to the ground, enslaved the women and children, and killed off the men. So the entire continent was named after him. So if you're a proud African American, you're a proud victim of supremacy. Someone defeated your ancestors, destroyed them, and then took their name and gave them his name. That's what Africanus did. So if you want to be a proud African, just know that you are giving homage and praise to the one who destroyed the last civilized culture on that continent, the Carthaginians, or the people of Cartagena. So if you want to be that, that's fine. Be that. Go ahead. Be a loser by definition. Be a loser by identity. That's what you are. By definition, by identity. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Just know that that's what you are. If you call yourself black and you speak English or any of the Romance languages, then, I mean, a 2-year-old would know better, right? First of all, none of us are the color of this, right? And any of us do have this wealth of melanin are divine and blessed people. Don't call them black, call them Maurian or something like that, like I do, right? But none of us are this color. So that's irrelevant. So why do you call yourself black when you also say blacklist, black plague, black lie, black male, right? Black day. Anytime you put black in front of something, it negates it. Negates it, right? So why would you call yourself black? And why would you be proud of that? So all of that's coming to an end in 2034. And I can say that. I've known it since it was made public in like the 1980s. But Bobby Hemmett brought it to my attention, oh God, like 15 years ago, I think. And I've been saying it in my videos, little like, if you go back to my old videos that talk about the end of blackness, I mention it in those, but I'm just making it very clear now. Blackness has come to an end. It's over. And so if you want to go into extinction with black culture and African American culture, by all means, continue to call yourself that. But if you want to move into the golden age and be exceptional, be powerful, be useful, get rid of that and choose a real identity. If you're from the African continent, I always do quotes on that, but if you're from Al-Kibulan, um, or Mexam, and you're like from Morocco, call yourself Moroccan American. If your people are from Somalia, Somalian American, if you want to do that. Or just call yourself American if you're American, right? If you look like this, say, oh, I'm Somalian, or whatever. I don't look Somalian, but maybe I do with my big forehead, right? um, or Egyptian or Nigerian. I'm part Nigerian, so or whatever. Call yourself by the national identity. If you're from South Africa, then you're the only people that can call yourself African American, and that's a correct use of the word because most native South Africans are white. They've been there since the 1600s. Just like that's when the Zulus showed up. So they all got there at the same time. The only natives to that place are the Xhosa? No, not the Xhosa, but the San people, the San people, and they're different. So yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Um, get rid of, stop calling yourself black. Uh, if you want to be an apex, you cannot be apex and be black. You cannot be apex and be African American. You cannot be a geopolitical Christian. You cannot join the organization and identify yourself with either of those identities. You just can't. Because any victim-based identity is not welcomed in our organization at all. So if you want to be a powerful person, a victor, a person of the golden age, a child of the Most High, you've got to act like it. You've got to refer to yourself as it, and you have to own it. So that's, I guess, all I have to say about that. Make sure you drop a like, share, subscribe, comment below. Only share this with people that are of apex mind. Any people that are not on that trajectory are going to be frightened and offended by this. Apex humans will hear what I say and they'll say, how is this true? Or they'll say, okay, this resonates, or nope, that doesn't resonate, but I like where he's going, and I'll just ignore it and keep going, go on to the next, right? That's what Apex humans will do. This message for Apex humanity, it's time to get it out there. And thanks for watching. Make sure you drop a like. Have a good life.